1, 2, 3. Oh, maybe with this red light on. All right. I was trying to think of a good, funny story about mothers to tell this morning, and I couldn't think of one, except this. Okay, so the day after Mother's Day in the retirement community, a pair of elderly couples were kind of hanging out, and the two ladies were off in the room making tea, and the two guys were sitting there at a table in the living room. One of the guys said to each other, "Hey, did you take your wife out for Mother's Day?" He said, "Yeah, I did. I took her to brunch." His friend said, "Where'd you take her?" He said, And he said, I can't. He said, "What's the name? There's that flower. It's red and it's got thorns on it." His friend said, "Oh, you took her to Cafe Rose?" He said, No. "Hey, Rose, what's that cafe we went to yesterday?" I know, yeah. That was the closest I could get. All right. But that's okay. Welcome to this place, which we make holy by our presence. These doors are open to all. Bring your brokenness and bring your power. Bring your fatigue, your early morning aches, and your energy. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together, we make it a holy place. Can you believe it? I actually memorized that, apparently. It only took me 8 years. Please join in for our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Yeah. Well, okay. Now I feel ready to do the chalice lighting. I'm still a little bit nervous about it since that time when the altar tried to burst into flames in front of me. But please join me for the words of the chalice lighting that are printed in your leaflet. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Our responsive reading this morning will be number 714, number 714 in the back of the hymnal. I'll read the sections in standard type, and please join me for the sections in italics. It is our faith that each child born is one more Redeemer. By this service of dedication, we commit ourselves to the nurture of this child. I know, I really thought I picked out a good one here, and I still believe in this. Are you ready to dedicate yourselves to the well-being of the world's children? We are prepared. We dedicate our minds and hearts to this child and their parents. Will you strive to love and cherish them in times of struggle as well as gladness? We will love and cherish them always. We acknowledge the divine spark within each child. May we be worthy guardians of this young life. May we build a community in which she or he will grow old, surrounded by beauty, embraced by love, and cradled in the arms of peace. This is the time in the service when we share our joys and sorrows, those special things that have been putting a spring in our step this week, or maybe some of those things that have been slowing us down. And I would like to think that joys, when we share them, are magnified, and that sorrows, when we share them, can be lightened. So please take a moment, think about if there is something you'd like to share, and if you do, please come up and light a candle.
Hello. One of my joys is writing poetry. Last year, I wrote a poem about my mom. So I just wanted to share this poem with you guys. Dear Mom, I love you. You twisted my dreads with practiced hand, picked earrings to match my dress, smoothed the creases in my confidence before I stepped out the door. You stood behind me even when the floor shifted beneath our feet. You weren't there for lullabies or first steps, no tiny footprints across the kitchen tiles. But at 8, you opened the door wide and let me in. Even when dinner passed in silence, even when I searched your face for answers you didn't have, I still held your love in the small things, a steady presence when everything else felt uncertain. I remember your words, sharp sometimes, falling like pebbles on a glass heart, making ripples more than cracks. I needed arms. You offered advice. You didn't break me. You just didn't know where it hurt. Dear Mom, I love you. I hope to carry your strength and soften its edges. Someday, I'll hold little hands of my own and offer them what I longed to find in you, love that's easy to feel. Still, sometimes, I wish to be the one you curled around like that sleeping dog in your lap. I wished for your voice to soften when saying my name. Dear Mom, you're all I have, and I love you.
Thank you.
It's hard to follow her, but I guess my sorrow has to do with work. You know, work is a big part of your life, unfortunately. I guess staying in the teaching field is hard. A lot of times I just want to leave the teaching field because because of the racism. It's very subtle. It's the same racism I grew up with in Istaroa, but it just really hard, though, to have that be present in the workplace. But I overcome it because I focus on why I do the job I do, and it's because of the students, truly the students, because the first 8 years of my life, I lived in Haiti, and they have an education, and I am very grateful for the education I got here. And so that's what keeps me going, because honestly, the teaching field has more sorrows than joys, I'm not gonna lie. But as long as I keep the students, I can wake up every day and do the best that I can do, because I believe in the students and I believe education matters, despite the flawed system that I'm operating in. So I guess it's kind of both for joy and sorrow, but that's just been weighing on my mind a lot, because sometimes accidents, little things makes it more pronounced, I guess, the racism. I always know it's there, but then a situation will just really make it more apparent. And then since I struggle with anxiety, I always put it back on me, I guess. I'm like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. You know you didn't, but it's hard for me not to, in a way, blame myself. Because I aim to, always do well, and I don't know. I guess it's hard. It's just hard. I know that I'm not the problem, but I am still working on changing how I think, because of my life experiences, and I kind of operate in a world where I always put everything back on me. So, yeah.
Testing. First, I have to smell these. Oh, God. I don't know, like they're so ethereal, and they don't last so long out in the wild, right? Wherever they grow. John, I'm prepared for you this time, man. Let me tell y'all, I went all out on coffee hour, okay? And you're gonna take stuff home because I don't want to take. I thought we'd have more people, but we're gonna have some really good stuff: quiche, homemade cinnamon rolls, and some other tasty treats. So, and somebody was so kind to bring dessert too.
Wow.
That's all I got to say about that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. This time it's going to be hot. Even if you go 5 minutes, it's ready. And happy Mother's Day to everybody. How could I forget that? Gosh. Double dipping. It's all good.
Thank you. I just want to say happy Mother's Day to my birth mother, Ghislaine. Ghislaine Disrosier for now. But she's still alive, actually. But she's not in the best condition. But I'm just happy that she's still alive. And it still gives me hope that I can still go see her some point back in Haiti. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my birth father, but as long as she's alive, there's still hope. So I just want to wish my birth mother happy Mother's Day, and my adopted mother happy birth. Not birth. Actually, her birthday is coming up, the 13th, actually. So yeah, happy Mother's Day and birthday to my adopted mother. She was good. She wasn't perfect, but between her and dad, they did right by me and my sisters. So I'm just very grateful. I always love Mother's Day and Father's Day the most. And yeah, at Father's Day, I love. So.
You know, usually when I come up here to light the last candle, I look for one that's used. I always think, like, you know, why sully a brand new candle? But this time I actually am. I'm going to do a brand new candle today because I do want to light one for our mothers and our grandmothers, our aunts, and the people, whoever it was in your life that fulfilled that role, whether they were related to you or not. And I think that really makes no difference. But whoever that was for you, I look around this room and I believe that every one of us here is alive today because of strong women in our lives who have accepted us and protected us. So, whoever that is for you, I'd like to light a candle just in joyful appreciation for that person. And I'm also going to, I'm going to light a used candle for those joys and concerns that we are still holding inside. Now is the time of the offertory. This is when we share our gifts for the work of this church. When I ask my college students who was the most powerful of the Greek gods, nobody answers. Because by that point in the semester, they already know that the first, most obvious answer is going to be greeted with a smile and a nod and an encouragement to think harder. Zeus, the Greeks say, was the king of the gods. He had proven himself by beating up his own father, Kronos, who had risen to power by beating up his own father, Ouranos. Zeus got married by beating up his older sister, Hera, and then maintained order by beating up his aunts and uncles, the Titans. He stayed on top by banishing his two strongest brothers, Hades to the underworld and Poseidon to the depths of the sea. And then from the heights of Mount Olympus, Zeus looked out on the Greek world as his gaming reserve. Every so often he would see some proud or beautiful human being, and he would come down to stalk and hunt and brutalize them. Christian filmmakers will generally present Zeus as some kind of loving father to humanity. But Zeus was not a Christian. He was around for centuries before baby Jesus was even a twinkle in his daddy's eye. All the written myths of Greece agree that Zeus was a bully and a predator. And that is our ideal of ultimate power. But he was not the most powerful of the Olympian gods. We know it because when he took for himself the right to give his daughter in marriage without the mother's consent, he met with the limits of his power. And we find that the one who could dictate terms to the mighty Zeus was not Hades or Poseidon or Ares or even Athena. The one who could tell him what to do was Demeter. The name Demeter is made of Dea, a word for grain, and meter, meaning mother. In Roman mythology, she's called Ceres, from which we get the word cereal. Before, the word cereal meant Lucky Charms and crunch berries. Can you imagine eating something called a crunch berry? Anyway, before that, cereal just meant anything made of wheat or barley. Ancient texts seldom tell us what gods and goddesses looked like, but in a Homeric description, we get to this glimpse of Demeter. Beauty breathed all around her, delicious aromas exhaled from the fragrant folds of her garments, and a radiant halo surrounded the deathless flesh of the goddess. The golden hair of her head floated down to cover her shoulders. In this description, she's not only the patroness of cultivated grain, she is also the grain itself. Her robe is described like a husk, her hair like the golden wisps, and her body like a kernel of grain. As long as she felt respected and appreciated, the grains would grow, so that the livestock could graze and the humans could eat and make offerings to feed the gods. This was why the gods had created humanity in the first place. The gods could send rains and bless the bounty of the land, but they couldn't cook. Apparently, it never even occurred to Zeus that he could flash fry a cow with a lightning bolt and then eat it. He needed humans to cook for him and serve him and feed him. His power and his existence were dependent upon offerings, and if he was not fed, he could starve to death. That's what ultimately became of the ancient gods. Osiris and Baal and Hades and Odin, where are they now? People stopped feeding them, and they died of malnutrition. That's how things were looking for old Zeus when he gave his daughter, the spring goddess Persephone, to the underworld god Hades. Demeter protested the abduction of her child by going on a hunger strike. Dressed in black and slouching around, the grain goddess became an anorexic goth girl. In an ancient hymn we read, golden-haired Demeter sat apart from the blessed gods, wasting with her yearning for her daughter. Then she caused a most dreadful and cruel year for mankind over the all-nourishing earth. The ground would not make the seed sprout, for rich-crowned Demeter kept it hidden. In the fields, the oxen drew many a curved plow in vain, and much white barley was cast upon the land without result. She would have destroyed the whole race of man with cruel famine and have robbed them who dwell on Olympus of their glorious right of gifts and sacrifices. And the mighty Zeus, cloudbuster and thunder striker, what did he do? Did he confront his mistress and menace her into restarting crop growth? Did he hurl threats and thunderbolts? No. He asked his own mom to go and speak to her. He had to ask his mom, Happy Mother's Day, can you go talk to my angry girlfriend? And finally, it was Zeus who had to back down. He had to tell his brother that he'd made a mistake, and Persephone had to be returned. Now, there was a catch. She'd eaten a few seeds in the subterranean realm. The underworld was now part of her, and she was now part of it. She did return to the surface, but she would have to spend a third of each year in the ground. And this becomes an explanation for the cycles of winter and spring. The Demeter story was dramatically reenacted each year in immersive community theater shows as part of the Eleusinian mysteries. These secret rituals celebrated a belief in cycles of human death, burial, and rebirth, parallel to the cycles of planting, sprouting, and harvesting. In the legend, Demeter wandered the earth, fasting, solemn. And then she met an old woman whose obscene gestures finally got her to laugh. The Eleusinian mysteries were not just an Easter vigil. They also required dirty jokes and gestures, plus beer laced with something, probably bread mold, which gave celebrants psychedelic hallucinations in the flickering torchlight. These hallucinogenic poisons would induce an ecstatic state between asleep and awake, between alive and dead, momentarily transcending fear of decay and death. The mysteries invited participants to view existence as eternal and cyclical. Then there was an all-night rave party. The Athenian elite and Illuminati included famous philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, who reported that they had partaken in these ecstatic rites, but that they couldn't tell you what they were. And it's possible that these out-of-body experiences inspired some of their metaphysical musings. At the climax of this, a priest and priestess would descend into a cave, and partygoers would wait in darkness. At last, the pair would emerge with a torch and a sheaf of grain, a sign that life and light would spring from the earth again. This yearly ritual of descent into the underworld and resurrection, excuse me, with sprouted grain, seems to be the seed from which the Persephone story was born. A young lady goes down into the earth with a man and emerges as a productive woman, the symbolic mother of this barley child. Persephone becomes Demeter. Surprise. We all become our mothers in the end. We are still taught to think of power in terms of patriarchal bullies. And the patriarchy is still stealing our daughters, plunging them into anxiety and inferiority, dragging them down into pits of political and economic inequality, encasing them under glass ceilings, confining some in prisons of domesticity, and hiding some in hellscapes of domestic abuse. Some of our daughters are smuggled into shadowy dens of exploitation and trafficking. That is child sacrifice on the altar of male privilege. Some of our religions say that the human body itself is a trap, a vessel of sin and iniquity from which only the soul can be saved, and only through prostration and penance. The first time that a woman dared to reach for the highest political office, 70 million Americans chanted, "Lock her up, lock her up." They wanted her dragged down into solitary confinement. And half of those 70 million Americans are women. Some of them are trapped in the kind of family situation that forces them to join in this chanting. And some are in even deeper traps, paradigm traps, where their own minds tell them that a woman's prison is a home or a jail. Others have to bury their own femininity inside of themselves in order to compete in the arena of toxic masculinity. At this moment, while I'm speaking to you right now, somewhere in America, some Persephone is being abducted or lured or tormented into some netherworld by some modern-day Zeus or Hades. But that is not ultimate power. Today's bullies and patriarchs only have power because we feed them. Zeus was the king of the gods, but he could not make a cheeseburger for himself. And when an angry mother cut off his food supply, he faced starvation, and he had to go to his own mom and ask her to stand up for him. The gods only have power because we give them power. With our offerings, with our daughters' rights, with our taxes, with our votes, with our obedience, and what today's gods are most hungry for, our silence in the face of injustice. We feed them, but without us they starve. And then, like Baal and Marduk and Odin and Zeus, they fade into fanciful old myths and legends. The most powerful god in Greek mythology is a mother protesting against injustice. She does not have to battle. Get there. Could you just read that?
The most powerful god in Greek mythology is a mother protesting against injustice. She doesn't have to battle Zeus. She doesn't even have to shout at him or smash the patriarchy. She just makes the choice to stop feeding it.
Good, thank you. Please join us for our next hymn. Do we have any announcements today?
I just wanted to remind everybody this Thursday at 5:30 we'll be having GED graduation. And if anybody would like to come participate, just to let people come inside, tell them where to sit and the bathrooms are and things like that. And if they want to stay afterwards, to help serve pizza. And then also next Sunday, we're going to have our annual meeting. So I have it directly after service. It'll be short, it'll be nice. and it's not required, but yes, everybody will be there.
I just wanted to remind you, John, that Shirley Chisholm ran for president in 1972.
Good, thank you. Well, gee, I really did think this morning that I was going to get here and give an energetic rallying call. Some of this stuff does make me very sad. But together, we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. Remember that you are blessed and you are a blessing and you are not alone.
I'll do the chalice extinguishing. So, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And so, 327, joy of the goddess.